Hey team, this is where we're fishing, around a bridge. There's a lot of pylons, a lot of structure, a lot of noise, but that doesn't worry the cephalopods, the squid. They're under the water, but they're here to target the bait fish. So for me, I need to find the bait fish. Now, you don't have to wait for a weekend to go and wet a line. Of course, if you have the luxury of being close to the water, then why not take advantage of what the weather is telling you? And tonight, I've got the full moon. I've got a king tide, which has been drawn by that full moon. And it's going to bring a lot of the bait fish from the channels up onto the flats. Now, if they're out there, of course, under that silhouette of the moon phase, they're going to get munched by lots of different predatory fish. So what they do is the bait will come right in close, but it also draws those cephalopods from the channels up into the shallows. Now, these banks here, as a kid, I've caught so many squid all through these regions, but having the luxury of a boat allows us not just to target this wall, but many other walls along these foreshores. And it tells me as well that it's a great spot to try, well, where I used to fish as a youngster. Let's get into the gear. So this pouch is an amazing squid pouch. Basically, it just allows everything to stay in there nice and neatly. When you unzip it, there they all are, all the pretties. Now, this is the clinch. I love the clinches. You can see that little bit of flash boost in there when I give it a shake against the light. And that is a beautiful jig, 3.5 gram. The smaller 2.5 gram clinch again is another beautiful jig. You can see that shimmering there. I've caught so many squid on these things. And then you just got your standard jigs that have in orange, green, blue, pink, and all that sort of stuff. Really cool jigs. But for me, I'm going to use a jig that I have caught a lot of squid on. It is the clinch once again, and it's this little guy here. It's more of a natural color, but that clinch, it's a 3 gram, and it's sort of the color of a tiger prawn, you'd say. A little bit of darkness in it, but also the colors around the top edge here of the pinks. And it's got the lumo around the tail. Most squid will have lumo attached to them at some point. In this case, it's generally down towards the actual jag hooks. Now, these hooks don't have barbs, everybody, so they are very, very prickly. And what prickly means is a terminology used by anglers that if you just touch yourself, it sticks to you because they are so sharp. Now, without the barb, it means you've got to keep the pressure on your hook at all time. Otherwise, the squid will easily release and take away. So once he grabs, you're just going to keep winding so he can't come off. And once you target that and you've hooked up and you've cast out, you're bringing him back, you need a net. So a good quality landing net is also an important part of this whole focus this evening. So I am running a bait caster. A lot of people don't like to use bait casters because of the overrun factor on these, but of course the Corrado DC 150 HD is a fantastic little reel matched up to, of course, the Raider. Yep. The thing is, there it is. Telltale, have a look at the rod tip. That's the squid. It feels like a snag, and then it goes a bit like a bag, but then it starts to give that pull. And what happens is that's him squirting out that ink, and that's his defense mechanism. So if anything's chasing, there he is in the blue light. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to actually catch them this evening, but now I have caught this one. I know they generally are in schools, and I'll get a few more. So, come here, buddy. You watch that first squirt of ink too at times. So I'll keep him in the water for a little bit longer, and just in case it's got any more ink in there, it's the last thing you want is around your boat is that ink. So we'll pull him out. That is cool. Not a record breaker, but there you go. That's actually an arrow squid. They come out of the channels at night time as well. Look at that beautiful arrow. And that's the clinch that he's nailed. Absolutely engulfed that thing. So I want to show you something here. That's how easy it de-hooks. Make sure you always keep the pressure again. They don't have barbs on these little jags here. They're just straight metal sharp points like needles. Look at him. Whee. Yep, absolutely stunning. You don't want to put your finger up in here either, because in there is like a parrot beak, and that'll come out and that'll bite you. So always hold them like so. And I like to keep mine alive as well. A great jewfish and kingfish bait, but also pretty good on the tooth as some fresh calamari. So around these bridge pollens, if you are fishing around a bank or in a boat, have a look at bridge pollens where they come up closer to the banks, and that's where you're going to find, of course, that's a great housing spot for squid. And if you're looking through with a spotlight, as you probably noticed behind me, I've always got a spotlight on hand here, and this spotlight just allows me to look into the water, around pylons, around the rock walls, and it's just an ideal thing. So these are the Dorchies, a really cool spotlight, very, very powerful. And I'll keep that on hand at the same time. Anywhere, if I'm coming into even a boat ramp or a jetty pylon or jetties in general, if there's lights, because lights attract bait fish. They're those little tips. You've got to think what's going to draw the bait in closer. And if you find those little bits of structure or some lights, you're going to find the bait. It'll be herring, there'll be pilchards, there'll be, you know, anything, anchovies, anything like that, these squid will come after. So that's the most important thing. And the bridge pylons, again, more structure. And if you can do that, you're going to do okay. Have a look at this one. I put him out earlier. There's a squid on here too. That's cool. I'm happy with this. So always keep one just in the current, just not doing anything really. It's like if you're snapper fishing. You drop a jig down and just let it move around with the current and the swell. And what happens? Bang! Straight onto a really, really good one. Here he comes in the blue light. Love blue lights. Blue lights, again, attract bait fish. Again, bring squid up to the back of the boat. Look at that guy. He's just holding in there beautifully. Again, this is the smaller 2.5 gram clinch jig that I'm using here. Beautiful colours on him too. Come in behind, so if he goes to squirt back like that, he goes straight into my net. That looks pretty good. Here we go. So we came out a little bit further here. There we go. So you're going to hear, every now and then you'll hear my drag just pulling out, even though these things don't fight hard, but what they do is they just release that ink jet trying to propel back, and that's what's pulling that bit of drag out. Here it comes now. But, so you don't want a heavy drag. You need to keep a really light drag on these guys, okay? You go too heavy, good chance there you'll rip that barb out of his soft flesh because they are so tender, especially when you put them in buttermilk as a calamari ring. But for me, a nice light drag is essential. Looks like another arrow squid, this guy. Look at him, just hanging in the water. Beautiful colours there too. So a little bit different colour here compared to where they were back in Oh, here he goes, here he goes. Come back to me, mate. I'm gonna put my net there, straight into the net. That's exactly what you want. You don't want him barreling away in the other direction. Now, one thing about these particular squids, which is a bit of a difference to your tiger squid, is the thickness of the tube. And I have noticed that quite easily, is that when I do cook them up, is you'll find that arrow squid is such a more delicate tube because it is a little bit thinner, but a much tastier for me because it's such a beautiful, soft, supple kind of a flesh, whereas the tiger squid can be a little bit more firm, a little bit more harder on the ring. Have yourself a good one, and hopefully next time you're going out there and catching yourself a cephalopod, a couple of these tips will get you underway.
Now, if you want to keep up to date with all things outside, simply head to our social pages and give us a follow. There you'll find tips, our latest Step Outside podcast, fishing segments and recipes.